Okay, so for part two of the first Democratic debate, I'll go right to the conclusion up front, which is that Kamala Harris won last night's debate. This was part two of this 20 candidate over two-night spectacle, I guess I would call it. Yesterday, we had all the front runners except for Elizabeth Warren. So we had Joe Biden last night, Bernie Sanders, to a lesser degree of front runner status, Pete Buttigieg. No clips today because NBC is reportedly being very aggressive with copyright claims. But the video of the full debate is widely available online. I have to address right up front, something weird was going on with Joe Biden. I mean, yes, the things he said were kind of hit or miss, and his performance wasn't great in terms of substance, but I don't know what was going on. I realize he's 76 years old. Maybe this is just an older Joe Biden that we're seeing. He's normally quite high energy, and short of one question plus a sort of okay closing statement, he was very low energy, and he almost seemed to be having that same speech thing going on that Trump has had a few times. Remember when Trump said, God bless the United States of America and Jerusalem, Israel, and stuff like that? Biden had something kind of similar going on to a lesser degree, which was odd. Bernie Sanders did okay. He actually rejected one or two questions as being incorrectly framed, which is great because in night one, you basically saw the candidates answering the questions as asked. And Bernie actually pointed out some of the framings of these questions are ridiculous. Overall, there was not a lot of attacking, including of Joe Biden, which there was speculation that we might see lots of. Eric Swalwell tried some lame attacks on Biden. He shouldn't even have been on the stage, quite frankly. And they were irrelevant, sort of grasping at straws. But the biggest attack on Biden was actually carried out very effectively by Kamala Harris when she attacked Biden on the issue of race for Biden's praise of segregationist senators. And I'll tell you, Harris's attack was clearly planned ahead of time, but it came off as genuine and it was really effective. And so for comparison, think back to night one of this debate where Beto O'Rourke clearly planned to at some point start answering a question in Spanish. And early in the debate, he was asked, what should the top marginal tax rate be? And then he awkwardly broke into incorrect Spanish without even addressing the substance of the question, including such Spanish gems as este economía and nuestro democracia, as I talked about yesterday. And it came off as pandering. The problem isn't speaking Spanish. I would love to have a president that speaks more than just English. That would be a great thing. It's that it came off as very calculated, disingenuous, and particularly poorly timed. Kamala Harris's attack on Biden was also clearly planned. She knew she was going to do this at some point, but it worked, and it was not a good moment for Joe Biden at all. Also really strong on guns was Kamala Harris. She gave a bunch of specific ideas about what she would do. Now, most of them she simply wouldn't be able to do unilaterally without huge congressional support. But it didn't matter because on guns, a lot of the candidates spoke in platitudes with no real conviction or actual action items. And Kamala Harris gave a list of stuff, unrealistic as it was, and it played well. So it really helped the perception of her performance. Another strong Kamala moment. And again, listen, I don't like Kamala Harris as a candidate. She's not in my top three. I don't even think she's in my top five. But I'm telling you how I saw the performance. Another strong moment for Kamala was when she drew a distinction between her policy on immigration and the Obama administration policy on immigration, which is a sort of proxy way to again distinguish herself from Joe Biden, which was a great way to again tout her left of Biden politics in a way that comes off as genuine and precise. Her weakest point was on the climate. I mean, she broke into just platitudes on the issue of the climate. So Kamala Harris, I think, the winner. Bernie did well. Didn't do any damage, I don't think, but he struck me as slightly quieter and lower energy than the sort of normal Bernie that we've become used to. There's very little even to analyze with Bernie. Again, he called out a couple of questions as improperly framed, which was good. His first answer about inequality was right in his wheelhouse. His closing was good. And in between, there's a lot of sort of blurry stuff. Biden was honest Biden in the sense that, for example, he didn't pretend to be for Medicare for all. We were wondering, is Joe Biden, even though we know that he's just a make tweaks to Obamacare type of guy, is he going to pay lip service and sort of play coy with and blur the lines with Medicare for all? He clearly did not do that. He said, I just want to kind of improve or tweak Obamacare. I disagree with Biden on this issue. He's an Obamacare guy. I'm a we need a totally different system guy. But I'm glad that he didn't sugarcoat or try to sort of deceive as far as what his policy is on that issue. He was upfront in his completely centrist policy. And that's good for the audience to see. They'll be able to more accurately evaluate who it is they want to support. Buttigieg did well. My main critique of Buttigieg all along has been that he speaks eloquently while actually saying very little in terms of policy. And this applied to his website, which for a while had a ton of stuff, but no real policy. His town halls, where he would say a lot without actually really saying much about policy. He still didn't say that much in terms of specifics, but he came off very well in the way that an audience would perceive him. And I think that Buttigieg was probably the second best performer last night. Andrew Yang, barely given a chance to speak. At a post-debate event, he claimed that his mic was off for periods of the debate. That may have been true, and I think it probably was not only Yang that had his mic very low. There were a bunch of times where Marianne Williamson was talking, but she clearly was being picked up by somebody else's mic, not her own. I did think during the debate that maybe Yang was just being too polite by not trying to jump in, but it seems that maybe his mic was just genuinely down. I don't know the truth of that. John Hickenlooper was a cartoon. He continued attacking socialism during the debate, despite there being no real socialism being proposed. He was kind of an embarrassing non-factor in a way. Kirsten Gillibrand actually had a very good debate performance and some good moments. She's polling at 0.5%. She didn't really get that many opportunities to speak, and I don't think she's going to become a factor. Overall, it's difficult to compare performances from night one to night two. But my final impression is that the night one winners were Warren, de Blasio, and Castro in no particular order, but they were the top three performers on the first night. Night two had a much clearer winner, Kamala Harris, followed by, I would say, Pete Buttigieg and Bernie close behind. And then lots of straight up bad performances last night in part two. So we have to wait until we get new polling to actually know what the effect of the debates is. There are people saying, oh, look at this online poll. This person or that person clearly won. Online polls are bogus, okay? It's just self-selection, whoever decides to go and vote in the New York Times poll or the Daily Mail poll or whatever. We'll find out next week. I would be surprised if Kamala Harris's polling doesn't go up. I would be surprised if Joe Biden's polling doesn't go down a little bit because of this debate. It's hard to imagine Andrew Yang's polling going up by more than a point, given that he barely was given a chance to speak. Biden has been the establishment DNC choice. If Biden does start tanking, it's going to be either Kamala or Buttigieg who take that position as the establishment favorites. But I think we've got a long way to go before that becomes a real conversation. So overall, after both nights of debate, I believe ultimately this will be a race between Biden, Bernie, Warren, Kamala, and Buttigieg. I don't think any other candidates are going to break through. Many of them can start dropping out soon, quite frankly, and we will see when we get polling next week. But at the very least, I don't know how you justify staying in much longer if you are, let me see if I've got them all. Gillibrand, Tim Ryan, who imploded on night one, Amy Klobuchar, Hickenlooper and Delaney, Williamson, Bennett, and Inslee. I might be missing someone. They can probably all drop out on Monday. And then there are three whose followers are expecting a big rise. And if they don't get it, they have to start thinking about what to do as well. Those are Gabbard, Castro, and Yang. Gabbard, Castro, and Yang all have supporters who say they are going to break through to like 5% or something after this first debate. If they don't rise next week, they are going to need to start thinking about what their path is as well. Let me know what you think. I'm on Twitter at @DPakman. The show is on Twitter at David Pakman Show. Change my mind if you disagree with me. If you love learning new things, you probably want to check this out. The David Pakman Show today is sponsored by Skillshare, and we're giving you 2 entire months of free access to Skillshare when you click the link underneath this video. Skillshare is a vibrant online learning community offering more than 25,000 video classes on just about anything you can think of. Get better at playing an instrument. Learn to use Photoshop. How to edit videos. They have classes on drawing, painting, business, cooking, nutrition, personal productivity, and I'm not even really scratching the surface. I recently took a great class on introductory watercolor painting. I'm still not good, but I am learning, and you can access the entire library of fun, easy to use online courses for free for 2 months by using the link underneath this video. 2 months of learning something that's totally new to you, something you want to get better at, something you already love, or you can get ahead in your career by learning new skills that will help you at your job. I've gotten a ton out of it. Pat has taken some courses that he's found really valuable, and I think you'll love it too. Get started for free by clicking the link under this video.